UFC 302 is on our doorsteps, and I will be giving you guys a full card predictions video and breakdown for all of these action-packed UFC fights. Kicking off the fight card, we have Mitch Raposo taking on Andre Lima, and this fight is actually very, very interesting. We have Mitch Raposo, who's a Contender Series alum, did lose on the Contender Series, but is undefeated outside of the Contender Series and has since gone on a 4-fight finish streak since losing. And then we have Andre Lima, who's 8-0 and is coming off of his bite of the night victory against Ihor Severino. And just because of that, I am going to take Andre Lima by KO, and not actually, okay? That's not the only reason, but I am going to take Andre Lima by a third round TKO. Mitch Raposo, I have watched his fights overseas, not overseas, but like outside of the UFC, and he does have really impressive striking there and does find a lot of knockout victories, but when he went on the Contender Series, he got torched, he got starched, and I just don't know if he'll be able to hang with the big dogs. So give me Andre Lima, former bite of the night winner, by third round TKO. Next up, we have Mickey Gall taking on Bassil Hafez. Bassil Hafez is the guy who, on his UFC debut, on short notice, lost a split decision to Jack Della Maddalena that I actually scored for him. And Mickey Gall beat Mike Jackson and CM Punk? Like, I don't know. Mickey Gall sucks, dude. They only brought him in here so he could fight CM Punk and Mike Jackson. Like, literally the two worst UFC fighters ever. And that was basically the only reason why Mickey Gall's even here right now. And, I mean, he did beat Sage Northcutt. Okay. Yeah, there's not that many good wins here for Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall, you don't got much good to look at here. Bassil Hafez, not much either, except for the fact that he literally beat a top 5 fighter in the welterweight division and got robbed against Jack Della Maddalena. So, just for that, I'm taking Bassil Hafez by a very, very dominant 30-27 decision. Next up, we have the chinny Alex Morono taking on the chinnier Nico Price. Pick your poison, I guess. Like, someone's going out here. Like, Nico Price is one of the chinniest fighters right now. I mean, man. That last showing against Robbie Lawler, you walked in there and got knocked out by an old man in 30 seconds, right? Robbie Lawler was retiring. Robbie Lawler was out of it. He was done. His career was over. And he knocked you out in 30 seconds. Give me Alex Morono. He's going to flatline this 35-year-old chinster, okay? He's coming off 2 knockout losses. He's 34 years old, and you know what they say? Once you lose your chin, you don't get it back. Give me Alex Morono by a first-round knockout. Next up, we have Grant Dawson taking on Joe Salaki. And oh my God, this is a huge step down in competition for Grant Dawson. Huge step down in competition for Grant Dawson. I know Bobby Green knocked him out in a minute, but that does not mean treat him like this, okay? Grant Dawson is going to stink it up like he always does and clinch his way and lay on top of you, wet blanket his way to a very, very boring 30-27 decision. Next up, we have, honestly, the prelim fight that I am the most excited for. Maybe the fight that I am the most excited for outside of the main and the co-main event. We have Roman Kopylov taking on Cesar Almeida. Cesar Almeida, they're really trying to shoot him up the ranks. He's 36 years old, but he has a lot of potential to be great in the UFC. He's an absolutely dialed kickboxer, and he has shown that he can survive on the ground, right? But giving him someone like Roman Kopylov, he won't touch the ground. Like, Roman Kopylov does not know what a double leg is. And he's Russian. Like, I can't even believe this. But Roman Kopylov, one of the best strikers in the middleweight division. Cesar Almeida, I mean, we don't know yet, but from what we've seen, another one of the best strikers in the middleweight division. He's an absolutely decorated kickboxer, and he has a lot, and he did fight Alex Pereira. Didn't beat him, but he did fight him, so I guess that's something. And yeah, dude, Cesar Almeida, he looked great in his last fight. Roman Kopylov didn't, but he did look really good on the feet, and I think that this fight's going to be an absolute tit-for-tat battle, and I still don't know who I'm going to pick, but I'm going to go with Roman Kopylov. I think Roman Kopylov's going to knock him out. I just think that the experience is just going to be too much for Cesar Almeida. The MMA experience, because he has a lot of kickboxing experience, but MMA is different. And I think Roman Kopylov is going to show Cesar Almeida that there's levels to this whole MMA thing. Next up, we have another great striking match. We have Randy Brown taking on Zaleski dos Santos. And Zaleski dos Santos, do not sleep on this guy, okay? This guy beat Benoit Saint Denis' ass way worse than Poirier ever could, all right? I know that Poirier knocked him out, but Benoit Saint Denis absolutely dominated Dustin Poirier in the first round and had absolutely no adversity, but he gassed out because of the antibiotics that he was on because of the staph infection, okay? If they run it back, I don't care what anybody says, Benoit Saint Denis wins, okay? Benoit Saint Denis is the god of war, and I believe that he is the second best fighter in this division. And Zaleski dos Santos beat him. Like, beat him bad. Like, really beat him bad. I mean, it was Benoit Saint Denis' UFC debut, but Benoit has not lost a fight since then, okay? Zaleski dos Santos put a pace on him, an absolutely raging pace on him, and I think that Zaleski dos Santos is going to do the same thing to Randy Brown. He's going to put a pace on him, and he's going to absolutely outstrike him. He's going to dominate him on the feet, and I think that if it goes to the ground, he's going to dominate him on the ground. I am really, really high on Zaleski dos Santos, and I think that he's going to beat Randy Brown by a 30-27 dominant decision. Next up, unfortunately, we have to sit through Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. I don't even care. Like, Jailton Almeida, you stink, dude. You really suck. And you're going to dominate Alexander Romanov, and you're going to sub him, right? Hopefully, you even can do that. Maybe you might land a punch, but, you know, I really hope we get to see Jailton Almeida keep it on the feet. I really, really hope we do, because we just have no idea what his striking is like at all. He's never faced any adversity on the ground, and basically the only reason why Curtis Blaydes got him was because Jailton Almeida just had his head in a weird spot and he was just stuck. Curtis Blaydes accidentally had Jailton Almeida's head stuck because of his big-ass belly, and he just hit him. And Jailton Almeida couldn't move. And that was just what it was. Like, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and that's not going to happen this time. Jailton Almeida's just going to run through Alexander Romanov like he runs through everybody else. And I think whatever Curtis Blaydes did to Jailton Almeida was a complete fluke, and if you watch that fight back, it's like, you might sleep for a little bit of it, but, like, the ending was just, like, the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and it was so strange, and I just think that Jailton Almeida is going to submit Alexander Romanov in the first round by throwing a front kick, blast double, pick him up, slam him on the ground, lay on him for like 2 minutes, eventually get a submission, fight's over, lock it in, all that. Jailton Almeida gets another snooze dub. Next up, we have a fight that I'm very excited for. Unlike Jailton Almeida and Alexander Romanov, we have Kevin Trailblazer Holland taking on Michael Okunjacek. And wow, this fight's going to be good. This fight's going to be close. Michael Okunjacek, he's really good. And he has a very weird fight style. He kind of reminds me of a Jan Blachowicz, where he's not super flashy, but he's very good with the fundamentals of his striking and his grappling. And I do think that it's going to be enough to beat Kevin Holland. And of course, I'm just kidding. Kevin Holland's going to knock this guy out. Kevin Holland's going to knock this guy out. Let's go. I love Kevin Holland. Love him so much. You know, I picked you to beat MVP. You didn't, but it's okay. You're going to beat Michael Okunjacek. Give me Kevin Holland by a first or second round KO. On to the co-main event. We have Sean Strickland taking on Paulo Costa. And this fight is very weird. I don't really know why they made this fight. I do think that they should have done Costa and Chimaev and then done Whitaker and Strickland for the number one contenders fight instead of Costa and Strickland, because Sean Strickland's the number one contender and he's not even fighting in a number one contenders fight. Like, most number one contenders get a title shot, especially after they get robbed and lose their belt because of a robbery. I feel like they usually get a rematch, but instead they're giving him like the number 8th ranked guy, and it's not even the number one contenders fight. Even if Sean Strickland wins, there's still like 2 people in front of him for the title shot. Israel Adesanya, who he whooped, and then the winner of Robert Whitaker and Khamzat Chimaev. I cannot believe this. I do not know why the UFC is doing this. I think that this should be a number one contenders fight because Sean Strickland, that's what he deserves it. You know what I'm saying? I honestly think he deserves a rematch. But the fact that they're giving him a bum like Paulo Costa's a bum, all right? His power, so overrated. He did look great against Robert Whitaker. He did. That was one of the best versions of Paulo Costa we've ever seen. And if that spinning wheel kick lands on anyone, it's going to put anyone out, okay? He's lucky that Robert Whitaker got saved by the bell. Because if the bell wasn't there, Whitaker would be out cold right now, and Costa would probably be getting a title shot. But that's not happening, and Costa's fighting Sean Strickland, and that's how it is, and Sean Strickland is going to put a pace on this guy. It's a 5-round co-main event. Costa's screwed, all right? Costa's going to have a real good first round. Real good first round. Maybe wins the second round. And then he's cooked. Like, from that point on, Sean Strickland's going to put a pace on this guy. Relentless pressure, all right? People have this idea that if you just pressure Sean Strickland, you'll beat him, and that's just not true. Dricus has great pressure. He has great forward pressure, and he's relentless. Paulo Costa is not like that. Paulo Costa's cardio, his power, his strength, his pressure, it's not as good as Dricus du Plessis, man. I think that Sean Strickland's going to put a pace on this dude and beat him probably by a 48-47, maybe a 49-46 decision. Next up, we have the main event, what we've all been waiting for, Dustin Poirier taking on Islam Makhachev. And oh so bad, I want to pick Dustin Poirier by guillotine, okay? Oh so bad, I want to pick Dustin Poirier by KO. Oh so bad, I want to pick Dustin Poirier. But I just can't. I just can't. The diamond... shine bright like a diamond. No. Poirier's not going to get it done. Okay? I'm sorry. All these people on Instagram singing, shine bright like a diamond. The diamond shines brightest in its final fight. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Islam's going to run through this guy. I honestly think on the feet Islam would beat his ass. So I don't even know how to feel. I really, really want Dustin Poirier to win, but I just can't pick him. So in the main event of the evening, I'm going to take Islam Makhachev by a first-round submission.